Imagine starting a business with no guarantee of success, facing constant obstacles and being told it will never work. Most people would quit, but some, like Bill Gates, turn failures into stepping stones. This story shows how early struggles can lead to building a global empire. Hello, friends. Today we are going to explore the story of Bill Gates, one of the greatest innovators and entrepreneurs of the modern world. This story is not just about money or fame. It is about curiosity, learning, and applying knowledge to change the world. If you want to learn how small habits and early decisions can lead to massive success, stay with us. Bill Gates was born on October 28, 1955, in Seattle, USA. From a young age, he showed extraordinary curiosity. Unlike most children, he was not just playing games. He wanted to understand how things worked. He loved reading, experimenting, and solving problems. His parents noticed his talent and encouraged him to explore technology and education. At the age of 13, Bill was introduced to his first computer at Lakeside School. Computers were rare in schools at that time, but Bill was fascinated. He spent hours exploring basic programming, logic, and problem-solving techniques. Even small projects thrilled him, and he would often stay late to test and improve his programs. This early experience taught him that learning by doing is more powerful than only reading books. Bill Gates had a unique approach to learning. He not only loved reading books on mathematics, science, and technology, but he also applied what he learned in real projects. He wrote programs, made mistakes, tested again, and learned continuously. This habit of practical learning and persistence became the foundation for his future success. By the time Bill was in high school, he had already written his first software programs. One of his early projects was a tic-tac-toe game that allowed users to play against the computer. He also created scheduling software for his school, demonstrating that he could solve real problems with technology. At the age of 17, Bill Gates and his friends founded their first small company called Data. This company aimed to analyze traffic data using computers, a simple yet innovative idea at the time. Although Data was not financially successful, it was a crucial learning experience. Bill learned about teamwork, business planning, facing challenges, and the importance of persistence. Data taught him an important lesson. Ideas alone are not enough. Execution matters. Even the best product will fail without proper planning, strategy, and understanding of customers. This lesson would later become the backbone of Microsoft's success. After high school, Bill joined Harvard University in 1973, where he studied mathematics and computer science. While academics were important, Bill's real focus was programming and building software. He often spent hours in the computer lab, experimenting with code and thinking about how technology could change the world. While at Harvard, Bill partnered with Paul Allen, a friend who shared his passion for computers. Together, they started working on software for the Altair 8800, one of the first personal computers. They wrote a programming language called BASIC for the Altair, which allowed users to run programs on the new machine. This project marked the beginning of their journey into the software business. Working on the Altair project taught Bill many critical lessons about technology and business. He realized that understanding the market, solving real problems, and communicating ideas clearly were just as important as coding skills. These early lessons helped him prepare for bigger challenges ahead. Bill Gates' story at this stage shows a pattern of persistence and learning. Even when Data struggled and early projects failed, he never lost hope. He viewed challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. This mindset would later help him build Microsoft, a company that would change the world. By the end of part 1, we can see that success does not come overnight. Bill's achievements were the result of curiosity, constant learning, practical application, and early small ventures. Every program he wrote, every mistake he made, and every small company he tried contributed to his growth. Key educational lessons from part 1. 1. Curiosity is more important than raw talent. 2. Learning by doing builds real skills. 3. Early projects, even small ones, teach valuable lessons. 4. Execution and planning are as important as ideas. 5. Persistence and hope can turn failures into stepping stones. 6. Understanding the market is crucial for success. When we left part 1, Bill Gates and Paul Allen had just written a version of BASIC for the Altair 8800 computer. This was the first real step into the world of software business. But this was just the beginning. What came next was the creation of Microsoft, one of the most powerful companies in history. In 1975, Bill Gates and Paul Allen officially founded a company. They called it Microsoft at first, a combination of microcomputer and software. Later, the hyphen was dropped and it became simply Microsoft. The early days of Microsoft were not glamorous. Bill and Paul worked day and night, often with little sleep. They had no huge offices, no big investors, and no certainty of success. But what they had was vision, skills, and determination. Bill Gates believed that one day, every home and office would have a personal computer. At that time, most people thought this was unrealistic. Computers were seen as large machines for scientists and businesses, not for ordinary people. But Bill's vision and belief in the future gave Microsoft direction. In the early years, Microsoft faced many challenges. Software was a new industry, and not many people understood its value. Convincing companies to pay for software was difficult. Piracy was also a big problem. Many people copied software without paying. Bill Gates even wrote an open letter in 1976, explaining why paying for software was important. This was an early example of his leadership and courage to speak the truth. Despite these challenges, Microsoft kept moving forward. They developed software for different machines, making them easier to use. One of their biggest breakthroughs came in 1980, when they made a deal with a young company called IBM. IBM wanted an operating system for their new personal computer. Here comes the twist. Microsoft did not even have an operating system at the time. But Bill Gates made a bold move. He promised IBM that Microsoft could deliver. Then he quickly found an existing operating system called QDOS, bought the rights to it, and modified it. This became MS-DOS, the software that would power IBM computers and eventually dominate the PC industry. The IBM deal was a turning point. Microsoft was no longer just a small company. It was now connected to one of the biggest names in technology. But the smartest part was the way Bill Gates structured the deal. Instead of selling the software outright, Microsoft licensed it. This meant that as IBM sold more computers, Microsoft earned more money, and they could also sell the same system to other companies. This decision made Microsoft extremely powerful. By the mid-1980s, personal computers were spreading fast. Microsoft grew rapidly, hiring new people, expanding its offices, and developing new products. In 1985, they launched Windows, a graphical operating system that made computers easier for ordinary people to use. The launch of Windows was not perfect. The first versions were slow and limited. Critics laughed at it. But once again, Bill Gates and his team did not give up. They kept improving, releasing new versions until Windows became the standard operating system for PCs worldwide. This persistence is a key lesson. The first attempt may fail, but continuous improvement leads to success. During these years, Bill Gates showed not just technical skill, but also business intelligence. He understood how to negotiate deals, how to position Microsoft in the market, and how to outpace competitors. He was deeply involved in both the coding and the strategy. His leadership style was intense, sometimes tough, but it pushed the company to achieve excellence. By the 1990s, Microsoft was on its way to becoming a global empire. Products like Microsoft Office, which included Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, became essential tools for businesses and students everywhere. The company had gone from a tiny startup to a world leader in software. But Bill Gates' journey was not just about building products. It was about building habits of learning, persistence, and vision. He was known for reading hundreds of books, analyzing data, and constantly asking questions. Even as CEO of a giant company, he never stopped learning. He showed that the best leaders are also lifelong students. Microsoft also faced competition and criticism. Rival companies tried to beat them. Governments investigated them for monopolistic practices, and the tech world was always changing. But through it all, Bill Gates adapted. He made mistakes, but he corrected them quickly. He took risks, but they were calculated risks. He focused not on short-term wins, but on long-term impact. By the late 1990s, Bill Gates was one of the richest men in the world. But instead of only focusing on money, he started to think about responsibility. He realized that with great wealth comes the chance to solve bigger problems. Later in his life, he stepped down from his day-to-day role at Microsoft and devoted his time to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, focusing on global health and education. So what can we learn from this story? If you are a student, a young entrepreneur, or simply someone with a dream, the message is clear. Never underestimate small beginnings. Never fear failure, and never stop learning. Even if your first company fails like Trafo Data, it might be preparing you for something much greater. In the end, Bill Gates' journey is proof that education is not only about classrooms or exams, Real education is about curiosity, application, persistence, and vision. These are the qualities that turned a curious boy into the founder of Microsoft, one of the most powerful companies in the world. Very key educational lessons from Part 2. 1. Vision is the foundation of success. 2. Execution and persistence matter more than ideas alone. 3. Smart business decisions can shape the future. 4. Continuous learning is the key to leadership. If failure is not the end, it is preparation for success.